weeks. It just came in yesterday, actually.
Those are pretty nice. So the ETBU logo and the Nike and.
Yeah, we got travel suits that are basically the same style, this Nike KO, and so I got some pullover fleece crew necks for the coaches to have something to mix it up with.
Traveling in style then.
Yeah, they're comfortable too.
So, Coach, we haven't talked to you in almost 3 weeks, I think. It's a little before Thanksgiving. So, briefly, how did you had a Thanksgiving in the Waco area with your team? How was that?
It was good. It was nice. We actually did Thanksgiving here. We played at Austin College the day before Thanksgiving over in Sherman. Left same day, came back that night, and then my wife was up here, and her parents were in town for the week. And so her mom and my wife put together a big Thanksgiving meal. We had like a 21-pound turkey and 10-pound ham and stuff, and of course all the fixing, 3 pumpkin pies and peach cobbler and all that.
And did it all get eaten?
Most of it. We still had a decent amount of leftovers that we probably still got a bunch of in our freezer, but there might be team meals for later on during the break.
So then you had a chance to go back to the Waco area because you played down at Georgetown. You got to practice at Baylor University. How cool was it to take your team to the place that you got to coach at and come from?
It was cool. I think the girls really enjoyed it. We had a couple of them that had been there. I mean, obviously somebody like Hannah Holt had been coming to Baylor camp since she was in 7th grade, and that's how I knew about her and how we ended up getting her as a recruit. But some of those girls had been there before, but for a lot of them, that was their first time being in that kind of a setting with the huge arena. We didn't get to practice in the arena because they were having a volleyball game the next day, and it was all set up for volleyball. But Coach Mulkey called her a couple months ago and told her we were coming down there and asked if we could practice in their practice gym, and they were out of town in Florida for a tournament. So real appreciative of that we could get in there, and it was cool for the girls to go see my picture up on the wall a few places, and with the Final Four and the national championship. And I think what a lot of them were probably the most surprised about was there's a picture in there. We've got like a big collage on one of the walls from the 2012 championship, and a picture with Obama, and they were like, "You met Obama?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, why didn't you tell us that? Like, well, we won a national championship, and when you win a national championship, you get to go meet Obama. So I figured y'all just knew. But anyway, and then we got to go check out their locker room and stuff, which is amazing. And it was just cool for the girls to be able to practice in there, and kind of, it was good for me to be able to tell them too, kind of like, this is where I came from, and this is kind of what my expectations are. I know we're not at that level right now, but that's my goals. That's where I want to get to. Like, I want our program to be at this level that they are, where we're winning all the time. And obviously we're a long way from there right now, but I think if we keep building with our our work ethic and our recruiting and everything, and obviously the support that we've got from our administration has been really good. So I think for our level, I think we can get there at some point, and that's what I want to get to.
Now, tell us briefly about the Thanksgiving break games. You played Texas Lutheran and was it Southwestern down there in Georgetown? Those 2 games, two close games, and you learned a little bit about your team before you headed back up here to Marshall.
Yeah, the Southwestern game was a good one for us as far as the competitiveness and the intensity level. We had started off the first 2 games that we had played was kind of hit and miss. We had some stretches where we played really hard and we played really well. But I thought in the Southwestern game, we really played hard for almost the entire game, which is something we've been really trying to get to this year. Because, I said we've got some talent, but we're not good enough to just show up and play and just expect to beat people without playing as hard as we can. And I thought we played really hard in that game. We missed a ton of shots right around the basket. I think we had somebody keeping track of it during the game. I think we missed 28 shots, or like within 3-4 feet of the basket during the game. And if we make half of those, we win by 30. And we lost by 1. So that was a tough game for us. But I think our energy was good. The bench was excited. When we were making runs and forcing turnovers and all that kind of stuff. So that was good. And then, unfortunately, the next day against Texas Lutheran, we didn't play the same way. We didn't have the same kind of intensity or execution that we did the day before, and so that was disappointing. But these last couple games we had last week, which I'm sure you're going to ask me about in a minute, were a little bit more like the Southwestern game with our effort. Our execution's not there yet. We're still missing a lot of easy shots and turning the ball over, but I feel like if we get our effort where we want it to be, then we can move on to getting the rest of the stuff right.
Yeah, you had your first American Southwest Conference road trip to Abilene. It's not exactly what you thought it would be, but what did you learn from your team on this trip? From what I've seen, you've got you got a team that fights back regardless of what's going on. And the McMurray game, I was watching the live stats as it was going. It's like, wow, they're fighting back, and it came to the point where you were down, I believe, 18 at one point, came back to take the lead. So this team, they will fight to the end for you.
Yeah, we've got a lot of kids that are competitors, and I thought that from all the reports I was getting from them about Open Gym was that it was competitive every day, and in our preseason and everything, and that's a big thing for us that I think is going to carry us through this season and on into the next year and the year after that with the future of our program, because we got so many young players. We're really young. We've only got 2 seniors and 3 juniors, so we're very heavy with freshmen and a few sophomores. So just that competitiveness and the never quit mentality has been awesome, and that was something we really struggled with last year, especially early in the year. We had more success early because we started games a little bit faster and we got ahead, and we never really kind of put people away. But if we got down, we had a hard time coming back last year until late in the year. We finally kind of got that mentality. Those last couple games against Ozarks and UT Dallas where we're backs against the wall and we had to win to get in the tournament, and we were really finally at that point. And then UMHB in the conference tournament too, where we really fought back from deficits. So it's good that we're doing that earlier this year. Obviously, I'd rather start with a lead and keep a lead. But, we're going to have days at some point where shots are falling, and we did Saturday. We made a lot of shots. We ended up shooting, I think, over 50% during the game, but McMurray also made a lot of shots in that game. They had some kids that were 0 for coming into the game, and one of them had 19 in the first half, and I didn't think our defense on her was all that bad. We might have left her alone a couple times, but a lot of them, we were there with a hand up, and they just made shots, But turnovers was really what did us in that game, and that's been a problem for us all year, and I knew that was going to be a problem for us with a young team. They're trying to figure out, not only just system of what they're supposed to do, but also how it all works together and what the other 4 players are doing. And then the next level of that is figuring out what the defense is doing, not only on you, but on the other 4 players. And so it's just a different level from what they're used to, I said, especially with these young ones. And honestly, like our returners too are not all that experienced, really. We've really only got we have 2 that started a lot of games for us last year, and then Delia played pretty big minutes off the bench. But, the rest of our returners were kind of spot minutes last year, so they weren't getting, 25, 30 minutes a game consistently. So, like I said, we really don't have very many players that have played a lot at this level, and so it's just different where you're reading different levels of defense and like I said, understanding the entire play instead of just what I'm doing, but understanding where everybody else is and where the help's going to come from. And so we've thrown the ball away a lot, trying to force it into stuff that's not there, or trying to drive into 3 people or something like that. And so I think we're getting a little bit better at that game by game, because the other thing is we're forcing a ton of turnovers too, which we really didn't do last year. We were more of a conservative, kind of keep people in front of us, contest a shot, and go get a rebound. But this year we're forcing a ton of turnovers, and so I think that's something we can keep doing. And if we get to where we're cutting down our turnovers a bunch, I think we're going to have a chance in a lot of games. Even if the shots aren't falling for us, if we can take care of the ball better, I think we'll have a chance to win some games.
Now you have 2 straight home games now. It's probably nice to be back home, and tomorrow night's the inaugural Christmas game against Sul Ross State. So first, 1, will you be wearing an ugly Christmas sweater to the game? And 2, is it nice to be back home for this homestand for 2 games?
I don't have any ugly clothes.
Is that your opinion, or?
I have some sweaters, but they're all pretty normal sweaters. I don't have any of the the tacky with the Christmas tree or the reindeer or Santa Claus on it or anything like that. So I don't know. I'll ask Jill tonight if she wants to go buy one for me or something, but she's not going to want to do that either. So I'll probably just be wearing regular clothes that I normally wear for one of the games.
Then how does it feel to kind of finally be back home? Your first game was against Centenary, and then you've been on the road since the last month.
Yeah, it'll be good. I think it'll be good for our kids, especially Thursday will be the last day of finals. So no more distractions, and obviously like their school is a huge thing, and obviously that's why they're here, and I want them to take that seriously, but it can be a distraction for basketball. So it'd be nice for them to not really have any distractions, and to be at home and play in our own gym that we're used to practicing in every day. And it'd be nice to have our crowd. I think we've had some decent crowds. Like when we were down in Georgetown, we've got a couple girls from Austin, and my family's from down there, so we actually had pretty good crowds for. And we got a lot of recruits down that area too, so we had pretty good crowds for those games. But it'll be nice to have an actual home crowd that is getting excited when we're making runs, and I think that's something that, because we've done that, like when we've made runs, our bench has given us a lot of energy of jumping up and down and cheering and yelling and everything, and so having not only them but an arena with other people in it is going to be exciting for us too, and I think could take us over the top.
So you have Howard Payne on Saturday, and then you go to Concordia, Texas on the 17th, have a little bit of a break, and then you're back in East Texas playing in Longview the 29th and 30th. How does the Christmas break look like for the team?
Well, next week's going to be a little different, just because we have the mini-mester, and that's something we haven't had before. So we don't have a lot of girls that are in it, but we have a few, and it's a good thing on one hand because it keeps them occupied when there's no regular classes going on, but at the same time we've got 15 other girls that are not in class that we got to keep them busy, so they're not just laying in a bed for 16 hours a day. So we'll find some stuff for them to do in the mornings, and obviously we have to get meals for them and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be a little different. I'm not really worried about them getting in trouble or anything like that. Sometimes idle
Right.
minds are the devil's playground, right? But I'm not really worried about that with them. It's just a matter of like them being bored and wishing they were home. And we tried to move these games around and just weren't able to do it. Would have liked to have played earlier in the week so they could go home a little earlier, but we'll make the best of it. It'll be a good opportunity for us to get a lot of work in and do work on ourselves with only having the one game, which will be nice. Because that's really what we really got to work on. Like we're doing scouting reports on the other teams that we're playing, but I'm really more concerned about us and fixing our problems, because if we don't correct the mistakes of the turnovers that we're having, and then missing easy shots, and we're not going to beat anybody no matter what we do with the scouts. So
Right.
we really get some time to work on that, and then obviously like going down to Austin, and then coming back here, and then we'll have about a week for them to go home with their families and take a break.
Do you have any Christmas plans? Will you be able to go back to the Waco area?
We'll probably be in Austin. That's where I'm from. That's where my family's at. We're kind of on a rotation, me and Jill, that we kind of set up when we first got married. And so we do 1 year where we do our own thing, and then 1 year with her family, and 1 year with my family, and then so this is our year to go down to see my family. Went up to see her family up in D.C. area last year. So we'll go down there, get to see my parents and my sister, and my sister's got my nephew is about 1.5 years old, and she's pregnant with their second, and so it'd be good to see them. Obviously we got to see them down in Georgetown too, but good to see them, spend some time with them, and get away. I was joking with Jill, I was kind of wishing this was our year to do our own thing, because as frustrating as the season's been, I kind of want to just get totally away from everything, and go to a beach somewhere or something like that. But it'll be fun to be with family and back close to home.
Well, Coach, thanks for talking to us today. Have a Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Adam.
Good luck this weekend as women's basketball will be back at home.